All right. Now we are joined by the Air Force and Space Force recruiter for Madison County, Tactical Sergeant Anthony Edmonson. Thank you so much for joining us. Going to give us some great information today on the armed forces, which can be a great path for our young people. This is our college career readiness class here at Velma Jackson. We also have Kiara Drain watching with us live, and we're recording this for all of our JROTC at Madison County schools, Madison Central, Germantown, Ridgeland, and in Madison Central, and also for those CCRB classes as well for our juniors and seniors. So we thank you so much for joining us, and I'm a huge proponent of the Air Force. We have a few Velma Jackson alums that have joined in the last few years, and I think it's important before you start presenting for our young people to know that, one, the Air Force is not just what you see in movies and TV flying around shooting up stuff. There's so much technology involved. And also, it is not just because you go to the Air Force does not mean you can't go to college. In fact, it's even easier to go to college. So we look forward to hearing all of that, and we thank you so much for joining us. And we'll let you take it away here.
Thank you, sir. Well, I'm Tech Sergeant Anthony Edmonson. Like Mr. Piggott said, I've been in the Air Force for roughly 8 years. I've been stationed all over the place. Was born in Texas, raised in California. Joined when I was 18, kind of turned 19 when I went to basic training, which is cool because I'm going to retire at 39. Can't wait.
Wow.
My first duty station was Tucson, Arizona. Loved it. It was amazing. There's a lot of traveling out there. If you're baseball fans, there's spring training. So that was pretty cool. I was there for exactly a year. And then I got orders to Mildenhall, England. That was crazy. I was there for 3 years, traveled all over Europe. When you're in Europe, you can pretty much drive all over the place. Went to France, Belgium, Germany, really just to visit. Loved it. After my tour was over in England, I went to Nebraska, off in Nebraska. Didn't think I'd like it, but I loved it a lot, actually. College World Series is there for baseball. If you can't tell, I'm a baseball fan. Biggest gym in DOD. It used to be an old bomber hangar, so that was pretty cool.
Oh, cool.
I got to get a video on here of that place. It's amazing. And then I got picked up to be a recruiter after my deployment. I deployed to IUD Qatar.
Wow.
Not really. Air Force deployment is not really a deployment. They had Pizza Hut, Dairy Queen, a swimming pool, and I think that the World Cup right now for soccer is in Qatar right now. Went to Afghanistan for 7 months. It was amazing. But after I got back from deployment, got picked up as a recruiter and came here to Mississippi. I've been here for almost exactly a year, maybe a little over. Before I was a recruiter, I was a fuels troop. POL stands for Petroleum, Oils, and Lubricants. What we do is we drive these big green trucks. They hold 6,000 gallons of jet fuel. We pretty much just push fuel onto aircraft and let them complete the mission, really. Like Mr. Piggott was saying, the Air Force is not just about like shooting guns and going to war, really. We have a lot of desk jobs, actually. We have security forces, which is our police officers of the Air Force. Fire protection, they're firefighters, and of course, a lot of intel jobs because we're the Air Force, right? And a lot of those fall under Space Force now. Carrying on, some qualifications for the Air Force, of course. You must be between the ages of 17 and 39 years old. A lot of people don't know that farther age limit of 39. It's never too late to join the Air Force. And 17 is where you want to start because, like me, you retire really early, get another job, retire again, and they get your Social Security degree. Must be a U.S. citizen, legal or permanent resident, have a high school diploma or GED with at least 15 college credits. Get through high school, guys. It's a lot easier if you have a diploma. I can send you to basic training right after. I'm sure a lot of you know what the ASVAB is, the Armed Forces Vocational Aptitude Battery Test. You need at least a 31. What was that?
We're taking the ASVAB here on campus Wednesday.
Oh, sweet. Great. You guys try your hardest, even if you think that you're not going to join the military.
Yep.
Always try your hardest because it's always there.
Yep.
And the test in the high school is a lot easier than it is when you get out of high school.
Oh.
So you need a minimum at least of 31. That'll qualify you for the Air Force. Of course, the higher you score, the more jobs and careers will come available to you. After you take the ASVAB, I'm going to send you somewhere called the Military Entrance Processing Station. It's a physical and mental screening. It's like a sports physical. If you ever had a sports physical, it's just like that. After you go through MEPS and you swear into the Air Force, you're in the delayed entry program. All the delayed entry program is really, for my DEPers, we meet up every Thursday. We work out. We work out, I answer questions, you guys ask questions, and I pretty much prepare you to go to basic training. Basic training is not that difficult. Everyone thinks it's scary because it's the military, but we'll get into more specifics for that too. Does anybody have any questions on the qualifications?
We're going to have some questions at the end.
Okay, perfect. I'll just push forward. Like I was saying earlier, career-wise, we have over 160 careers. Each of them are split up into 4 different aptitudes. So mechanical, electrical, general, and administration. Mechanical, of course, you're going to work on the mechanical portions of either aircraft or vehicle. My job before recruiting was a mechanical job. Electrical, same thing, electrical on aircraft or electrical throughout the base, because a base is just a little city with a fence around it. The general jobs, that's where security forces is going to fall, civil engineering, fire protection, and then administrative are your desk jobs. Right now, as a recruiter, it's an administrative job. It's not as fun as a mechanical job. These are just some pictures that I have up here. Nothing too crazy. There's a C-17 up top. I don't know what that jet at the bottom is, but I want it. It's really cool. And then just more of the jobs. Aircraft structural maintenance, working on the aircraft, making sure that they're good, ready to go. The intel job, the bomber, special electronic warfare and radar, that one's pretty cool. Tactical aircraft maintenance, they're actually working on the jets, making sure they're ready to fly. In-flight refueling is actually probably the coolest job in the Air Force to me. I've never done it, but you're filling up aircraft in the air.
That is
pretty sick, yeah. The ambassador program for all my juniors out there.
Yeah, and we've got all juniors with us right now.
All right, cool. So if you're a high school junior, you have to be 17 years old, of course, and up. The process starts April 1st. Instead, usually my applicants have to list 10 jobs of what they want to do based off what they're qualified for. But as a software program, starting your senior year, you only have to list 5 jobs. So that's giving you a chance to get those harder to get jobs. A lot of the applicants want medical jobs because you can do a lot more with medical jobs on the outside, and those jobs are very, very difficult to get. In the ambassadors program, you have a better chance of getting those, right? And then you reserve your jobs around the beginning, October-ish of your senior year, and you won't leave until after you graduate, because of course you need your high school diploma. Cool. Commitment. The Air Force active duty, you only have to sign for a 4 or a 6. The only real difference of the 4 and the 6, other than the 2 years, is with the 6 year, you can come in with E3. So graduate basic training, 20 weeks after basic training, you can put on E3, which is a Airman First Class, or when you graduate tech school, which differs based off your job. Basic military training is only 7.5 weeks. It's the shortest in all the other branches. I think the Marines is 13. Yep. Big difference. Technical training, like I said, differs depending on your job in length and location. Mine was only a month, and it was in Wichita, Texas. So I put on E3 pretty quick. So that tech school, what's cool is you don't need to know what you're doing when you go in. That ASVAB is going to tell you that you're capable of learning that job. So when you go to tech school, you're going to learn your job completely. You're not going to get thrown into the field and feel out of place, really. You're going to know what's going on. Some benefits of the Air Force, if you guys already don't know, a lot of the military benefits. The 30 days paid vacation. So leave, I can call my boss up today and say, hey, I'm going to take leave for a month, and she can't say no. Wow. And I'm still getting paid, right? Every 2 weeks. It's great. Tuition assistance, you're getting up to $4,500 a year. You're going to pay for your college, get your degree. You have your GI Bill, of course, that's going to pay for your school as well. Our dormitories, I believe we're the only branch, possibly, this was told to me, but I don't think any other branch, sorry, I'm trying to reword this, but the only branch who doesn't share a room in dorms. The most you're going to share in the Air Force is a bathroom, which separated, you're all by yourself. You're not paying for water, electricity. You have the DFAC, the dining facility. You're getting free food, health insurance, of course. Let's go. And a retirement plan. That's what I'm in for.
Yeah, and that's and I think that's a very important thing, because that pay there is not in, you're not paying for any housing or any food, so that's money that you can basically bank.
It's just in your pocket. Yeah. A lot of people are like, I'm gonna join the Air Force for the money. Don't join the Air Force for the money. You're gonna get money. It's gonna be a steady pay. And that money that you're getting, you're not paying for anything unless you get a crazy car for some reason, which you shouldn't. Remember, I said this first. Sergeant Edmonson said, don't get a fancy car when you're in there, right? You're not paying for a room. You're not paying for electricity. You pay for your phone bill, maybe, and gas. I'd ride a bike if I could. 5 reasons to join the Air Force. Automatic enrollment in the world's largest community college system. So I like this one a lot because the Community College of the Air Force is an accredited college in the Air Force. You're getting credits for going to basic training, for going to tech school, and these credits are all going towards your degree based off your job, the CCAF, Community College of the Air Force, right? It's an associate's degree. My associate's degree was in logistics. So I got credits when I went to basic, went to tech school, and then I went to leadership courses when you make rank. I'd hope that you want to make rank. And eventually you have your associate's degree. I'm not huge in school. I never went out of my way for school. I joined to get out of my city, which was a lot like Jackson.
Yeah.
So I have 2 degrees now, one in human resources, one in logistics, and I almost tripped and fell on those. Yeah.
Wow, that's incredible.
Earn college credits by simply learning your job. That's the tech school portion of it. Establish financial independence at a young age by not having to pay for rent or healthcare. Real easy, right? Gain access to once-in-a-lifetime travel opportunities. I know a lot of people want to get out of Mississippi. So
we had one of our alumni who graduated 2017 and then joined 11 days after he graduated from high school. And he told us within the first 3 years, he had been to Hawaii, the Philippines, Japan, Guam, California, and I think Korea was the other one, just within the first 3 years.
Oh yeah, that's a great tour. Those are all great places. I haven't been to Japan yet, but
yeah,
I've been
and
trying
now he's at Tinker out in Oklahoma City, but he has just said it's just mind blowing the places he's been able to see that he never would have been able to see staying in Camden.
And you don't pay, it's not a dime out of your pocket either.
Yeah.
It's just your job. So it's great. Spark new friendships and professional connections with airmen who have diverse backgrounds and experiences. This is another one of my favorites because I'm really good on networking, really big on networking. The more people you know, the lot easier a lot of things are going to be. I have friends from all over the world. I consider them family because you get close to everybody. If I were to get out of the military tomorrow, I have a friend who lives in Trinidad who his dad owns an oil company, and I'll go work for him in
Wow.
Trinidad. Sounds amazing. It's just nice. You meet a lot of great people. It's actually probably the best thing in the military for me.
Yeah.
So like I said, it wasn't a lot. Here's my information. I can take questions. I'll answer questions all day.
Yeah. Well, I have a few before I get to some of the students' questions.
Yeah.
We can end sharing. Now, talk a little bit about, because we didn't really look at the Space Force, because I think there's a big misnomer. There's been a lot of things in the media. Hold on, my screen's freezing. There we go.
That's fine.
There's been a lot of things in the media acting like it's like you're fighting UFOs, but that's not the case. That is one of the most high-tech entities in the world, dealing with satellites, all types of radar, types of technology. So talk a little bit about what the Space Force does and the types of careers that would transition into the Space Force.
Okay, so a lot of the Space Force jobs initially were pulled from the Air Force. A lot of the higher intel jobs. For the Space Force qualifications, I believe you need an ASVAB of 60 plus and at least a 70 plus on your electrical portion. I think the biggest takeaway from the Space Force and what you can do with those jobs is you're going to get a top secret clearance. So if you've ever been interested in working for the FBI or the CIA, those intel jobs are what's going to get you there, right? Those are really expensive and they're free in the Air Force because they're going to pay for it, right? But like I said, it's a lot of intelligence, really.
Yeah, and I know you mentioned that when you join, it's either a 4 or 6 year commitment, and obviously you could do like you and stay in longer. There's obviously opportunity for that. I had friends that were in for 10, 15, 20 years. But let's say we have a young person that they just want to do the 4 year commitment, and they want to have one of these Intel tech jobs, because obviously with the Intel, you're looking at cybersecurity, you're looking at meteorology, you're looking at information systems, database management. So if somebody wanted to do that and do the 4 years there, what type of civilian jobs and pay will be waiting for them when they got out and they haven't gone to college one single day?
Do a lot of research on that. I'm not an Intel kind of guy, so I don't know a lot of Intel jobs, but that's where the networking comes in. There's a lot of people that you worked with that are in that Intel community are going to know a lot of Intel people. I know they make a lot of money for sure, but yeah, I'm not too positive on exactly a lot about the outside Intel jobs, other than like the FBI and CIA stuff, really. But that resume, people seeing that on your resume it's gonna look great.
Yeah, and even if you don't want to stay in the government sector, the training you would get from working with that state-of-the-art technology, because the military is going to have the most cutting edge technology in the world. And you're not going to be able to necessarily get that on a college campus. Now, I'm not trying to tell people not to go to college, but I think it's important to understand what the Air Force has to offer when it comes to these tech jobs that a lot of the other branches cannot offer.
Right. The Air Force is, they call us the chair force because we're considered the smartest. We do less, but if you've ever heard the term work smarter, not harder, that's why we look like we don't do a lot.
Yeah. But it is extremely vital to the operation of the branch. Now, talk a little bit about, we looked at active duty. Let's say somebody wanted to do reserves. So what's the difference in that, and how would that work if that's something they wanted to do while they were in college or after high school?
Okay, yeah. So I can't speak too much on the Guard and Reserve. I don't know the process. I'm only an active duty recruiter. The most I know about the Guard and Reserve is the Guard is funded by the state. Usually if you go Guard, you stay here in Mississippi, and they pay for your school. I'm not too sure how their health benefits look and their education benefits look, but like there's funded by the state. Reserve is funded federally. But same concept, you're going to stay here in Mississippi. If school is what you want to do and you don't want to go put yourself into debt, absolutely Guard and Reserve is the way to go. But if you're trying to bust out your school, get out of Mississippi, and just really travel and just experience something new, then active duty is the way to go.
Yeah, and like we said, we had the alumni that's been in Asia and the Pacific. What are some other areas that have a heavy Air Force presence that could be an opportunity for someone to travel as active duty Air Force?
Oh, Europe. Europe's huge. We have bases. I think we have 3 bases in Ramstein, active duty ones. We have several in England. There's 2 like 15 minutes away from each other. We have Belgium, Italy, Spain, Hawaii, of course. We have 1 in Alaska. There's 2 or 3 in Alaska. And then all over the United States, except for Wyoming. I don't think there's 1 in Wyoming. Yeah, I don't know why there'd be 1 in
Wyoming. That would be pretty random. Now, I do have a few questions from the students. And this first one is really good. And these are all juniors.
Might stump me.
No, I don't think it'll stump you, but this is a great question. I'm glad they're thinking about this. And he asked, I'm sorry, this is the Roger Harris. He's a junior, and he asked, how has your military job helped you in your everyday life?
So which jobs? Let's say being in the military completely helped me grow. As an adult, like I said, I joined really, really young. I had a lot of discipline coming in, but learned a lot more discipline coming out. As a recruiter, I think I'm way more, let's say I plan a lot better. Everything is fine-tuned for me. It's really just pick it up. It's just chain of command, knowing who to follow. It taught me how to be a leader as well. Gets you out of your comfort zone. I'm actually a terrible public speaker, but you wouldn't know that because the Air Force has made me do it so many times. So now it's just second nature. But it's helped me grow a lot. You know, it's even if you decide not to make a career of it, at least 4 years in it, you'll grow. It'll be great. You'll learn something and you can use something out of it.
Now this is Deshana Woodard. She's interested in nursing, and I know I had a friend that was an Air Force nurse. I know there's a lot of healthcare jobs in the Air Force, but she asked, what was your main motivation to join the Air Force?
Like I said earlier, my original city, I'm from Vallejo, California. It's a lot like Jackson. I didn't think there was anything for me there to grow and get out of there. So I decided to go Air Force. A lot of my family was in the military, but not the Air Force. And it was between the Marines and the Air Force, and I decided to go to the force. So it was really to get out of my city, which I did, and I've traveled all over the place. And now I'm glad to be back in. I'm glad to be here in Mississippi because I want to get people out of here too.
Yeah, and but it's also, one of the top training schools in the Air Force is in Biloxi at Keesler, where I've gotten to meet several of the young people there, and I actually met a young woman from Guam who said I had to get the heck off that island, so she joined the Air Force. So obviously there is the opportunity to reestablish yourself if that's something you wanted to do, because you hear that a lot of, I want to get out of Mississippi, but you don't have a plan to do it. So I think the Air Force is definitely one of the best routes for someone to do that. This is Alexander Williams, and he's got two questions. The first one is, if Air Force training is not as hard as people think, what is the basic training really like?
So basic, your every day is going to look like, one, you're going to run. Of course, there's going to be working out, calisthenics, but that's the military in general. It's not hard. If I can do it, you can do it. And then a lot of people don't know, a lot of it's classroom time. So we're sitting down, you're learning about Air Force history, you're learning about regulations, because at the end of your basic training, you're going to take a end of course test, and you got to pass it to graduate. But like, it's a lot of classwork, and you'd be like, oh, this is nothing like basic training, or what you would think it'd be. A lot of people say that it's the most fun they'll never want to have again. Makes sense. I would do it again. I had a blast.
Yeah, and I think it's important to understand. It's like, and I know we've mentioned this more than once, that the media, portrays certain things in the movies and TV, and that's just glorified for drama. That is so far from what actually happens in these military training. I mean, it's not easy by any stretch, but it's not something you're going to come out of traumatized.
Right, absolutely not.
Now, his other question is, is there any way you can choose where you are based?
So in basic training, they're going to give you this sheet. They call it a sheet. It's called the basic preference sheet. And you list the places that you want to go. Of course, the Air Force is going to take in consideration, but they're always going to send you where they need you. Yeah. We actually call it the dream sheet, because it's the dream. You're dreaming, right? I know one applicant who put her number one. She wanted to go to Lakenheath, England, and she got it. Wow. So that's the only person I've ever met in my life, which was in the past maybe 6 months, who actually got their number one. I put California, of course, not home, but I wanted to be close to home to family, and I got Arizona. You don't know where you're going to be, but I guarantee you're going to love it.
Yeah. This is the last one from the students I have. This is Ashley Stanford, and she asked, if you had a chance to change your career you had when you were before you were a recruiter, your fuel, what would you have changed it to, and why?
So I love POL. Love the people in POL. The camaraderie was amazing. I'm big on heritage and camaraderie and being a family, very family oriented. But if I had to change my job and I wanted to, probably in-flight refueling, because I think that's the coolest job in the Air Force. You're a flyer, and they travel a lot to Asia and Europe. You're the alumni, I believe. He's probably an in-flight refueler.
Yeah, and on that's not necessary, and I think that's important too. And that's an example of a lot of these in-flight jobs are not actually controlling the plane. There's a lot of intelligence. There's a lot of machinery, weaponry, fueling, electronics that they don't have anything to do with flying the aircraft, but they're important to the operation of the aircraft.
Right, absolutely, and they're getting flight pay just like everybody else. So you're getting extra money for it. You're getting better training. You get to wear a flight suit. That's pretty cool.
And you have the opportunity, if you really, if worst comes to worst, you get to jump out and you get to jump out with the parachute. So
I'm sure they train you on it. Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
yeah,
If it came down to it.
you adrenaline junkies, that might be something fun, because it's like you said, it's not just shoot stuff and blow stuff and fly around out of airplanes. But if you really want to do that, they can definitely find a place for you, because that obviously is a part of it as well. So for people seeking adrenaline rush, it could be a great a great fit for you.
Yeah, and then also the adrenaline junkies. We have our special warfare program as well. These are the people that are jumping out of planes, who are saving people's lives, crazy stuff, like our pararescue men. I respect them a lot. Our EOD, explosive ordnance disposal, you're good with robotics, they're controlling robots, they're diffusing bombs. Our combat controllers, our TACP, tactical airstrike control party, they're pretty much out with the Army, they're calling in airstrikes. Those are our crazier jobs. And if you're physically fit and mentally well, absolutely let me know and I'll get you in there.
Yeah, and at Ridgeland, they have the world championship robotics team over there. So people with that robotics background at Ridgeland, that could really transfer into a great military career where you could make a ton of money once you're done with that robotics background. And then the training in the Air Force is just, that cannot be stressed enough. And I know that Air Force JROTC over there does a great job telling them that, but it's important to reemphasize that robotics background could lead to a great military career.
Absolutely.
All right, well, we're almost out of time, and we thank you so much for joining us. Great information. For everybody in Madison County Schools, this is your man right here, Anthony Edmonson, and he had his contact information on there. And just one more time for people that may have missed it, how to get in contact with you, or if they need to come see you on your office over there, how can they find you?
Okay, I mean, all over the place. I'm a recruiter. You probably got my cards all over your school already. You can talk to your JROTC instructors. They have my information. A good phone number to call me at is 601-738-8315. Sorry, I have two phones I have to remember. Email, Instagram, Facebook, look me up. You can Google Ridgeland Air Force Recruiter and I'm there. It's not hard to find me. It's harder to find you guys for me.
Well, again, thank you so much. And as always, thank you for your service, and aim high.
Absolutely. Fly, fight, and win.
All right. Talk to you soon, buddy.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
See you.